All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of At the Table by Urban Forex. Now, in this episode, we're going to be talking about why do many traders fail and what are the common traits of what causes the failure. So on the panel I have with me today, Armo, Lucas, and Ian.
Hey
Hello.
guys.
Yep. So we're going to be hearing from their experiences, some of the traits that they have seen, some of their own personal experiences, and being on Urban Forex and going through, dealing with tons and tons of students on day in and day out. They're also going to share experiences that they've seen outwards as well, not just inwards. So it'll be a great recap on that. So many of you guys are joining in live into this podcast as we're recording it. So let us begin. So why do you think many traders fail? And why is this an important topic? Why is this such a hot topic? And why do we have so many people registering to come to this webinar, which we're going to be holding right after this podcast? Okay. And by the way, those of you guys who are tuning in and listening in, the link to watch the webinar itself that we're going to do after this podcast will be below in the description. So yeah, bringing that question back up, why do you think this is such an interesting topic? And what is it about this topic, about traders failing?
Because I think everyone fails in their journey to become a good trader. There's no one who's like, yeah, it was a smooth ride, no failures whatsoever, and I made it. Everyone has mistakes and failures along the way.
But it doesn't seem to look like that though on the social media, right? It seems like everyone's succeeding.
Yeah. But which part of social media is ever realistic?
Well, that's true. It's true. So you're telling me all the girls on my social media profiles, they don't look like that?
They probably don't even exist. They're like computer generated.
Probably just a bunch of men, just dressed up. All right. Lucas, what about you? What is your experience with why do many traders fail?
I don't know actually. There's like tons of reason why that happens. But I think one of the most common mistake, at least from my personal own experience, was when I first started, I started out, writing down a plan.
Okay.
First 3 months, I'm going to study real hard with Urban Forex and learn everything I can learn. The second phase, the second 3 months, I'm going to start demo account trading. And then after that, I'm going to start live. And then I just go live for 1 or 2 more years. By then, I'm going to be, making banks, sitting at the beach, trading with girls.
It's like I can see where the dream is actually headed.
We're back to the girl topic again.
I can see it's not about trading at all.
Yeah. Now I realize all the girls we were just talking about were not real. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, after 3 years, that's just not how it goes, man. Sometimes it takes just 3 years to just study the materials, and then after that you really, start to learn how to trade. So
right.
I think the mistake there was traders, especially beginning traders, they really shouldn't plan out, like a university course. I'm gonna do 4 years of this, and then bam, I have it all covered.
But that's an interesting thing you say actually about like a university course. So let's say people do take university courses, they get their degree. Do all of them suddenly get $1 million jobs?
I don't know, man. I dropped out, so I have no idea.
But even in realistically, if we think about it, like the whole idea is if I go to university, I'll get my degree. And once I get a degree, I'll get a nice job. They'll pay for my house. They'll give me a car allowance and this and that. Like you'll get all that stuff. But many get the degree, but few actually do really well and become very successful, right? Like I don't see a university saying this is our alumni. We had 30 students in this class and 29 and a half are ultra successful. That never happens.
No.
Right? So that's very interesting the way you compared it to a university. And I think it's even universities have their own realistic data that we need to also consider and look into it. Okay, not to mention how expensive a university is, depending on where you are. Obviously, Armo, you're from the Netherlands. You can actually say that university should not be that expensive, right?
Well, if you're Dutch and you study in the Netherlands, then no. Although things have changed because it's been a while since I was a student. So
Okay. So are they charging now in Netherlands?
well, they were always charging, but now I think the loan system changed where I would get like, even while I was living with my parents and studying, I would get like 100 euros per month, just like student allowance. But now I think if you want to get anything, it's a loan that you have to pay back. And when I was studying, if you were not living with your parents or you're living in a city where you were studying, then you would get like a lot more money even, and that was not a loan. But now that has become a loan.
Okay, understood. Okay.
But the what you have to pay to university, that's still relatively affordable.
All right. Yeah, I had a similar experience when I went to college in the U.S., but the tuition in the U.S. is a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
If you're local, obviously it's not so expensive. I was there as an international student, so that's when they charge you your firstborn, and that's okay. That's okay, as long as the education's worth it. But even the education, I was in university for like 7 years. Could have taken 4 degrees, different degrees, but I walked away with nothing. I just decided it wasn't for me. That's the route I took. Doesn't mean it has to be the route everyone takes. We have people in our team that have PhDs, right? So doesn't have to go that route. So Ian, what about you? What is your take on why traders fail? What is it about it?
There's a lot of reasons. I think they don't call it a 95-5 game for just one reason alone, So
Right.
Just to piggyback a bit off of what Lucas said, just with getting the education, I know from my personal experience, when you first start out, there's a lot of options out there. And you can look on any sort of YouTube channel, and I was a hopper, if you want to like classify it as a term. And it's like, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. You try a little bit of everything, almost like in a candy store.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really get you anywhere, and that's one thing I found that really hindered me, is that I studied a little bit of everything and really got me nowhere fast, off the beginning. So I think that's a problem.
Did you start off at Urban Forex in your journey, or were you, somewhere else before you came onto Urban Forex?
No, I was just like, I think like a lot of people, like you Google search, I think is one of the main things. And you're looking for the best one out there. And off the beginning, you're like I say, like you see all these different videos. This looks good, that looks good. And I spent actually in a short time, you'd be surprised how many different things I tried.
Right.
And one piece of advice I would give now in hindsight, because I found Urban Forex not too long after, you got to find something, take the time and find something that fits for you and you feel good with, and then stick with it. Stick with it and give it a chance, and don't hop around. And I think you'll have a smoother path, to results. That's what I found anyway.
Would you agree with that, Lucas? What about you? Did you actually go directly Urban Forex, or did you come from a different background?
I think like Ian, I studied stuff here and there in the beginning, and then I, obviously ended up with Urban Forex. But listening to what Ian was just saying, I kind of feel like it's gonna be difficult for someone who just started out trying to look for the right education, because even right now, where I'm a little bit more experienced, I still wouldn't know which course is like a good course until I truly tried it out, for a few months, maybe for a year, to really understand. So I think back to what Ian just said, I think it's important to pick one and then just, stay consistent with it and try it out for at least a year, I'd say.
And something that feels right. Like I know one thing, like with Urban Forex, that one thing I'm missing with a lot of them was like the why, and like explaining like, why am I doing this trade? And that was the one thing I got with Urban Forex, and that's what like kept me with it, because it's like, find something that's like, oh, okay, I may not completely understand, but there's explanation behind it, and I can get behind this and stick with it and work hard with it.
From the thousands of students I've worked with over the years, it became very apparent that everyone was doing a little bit of everything, but no one knew why they're doing it. You know, whenever I bring up that question of like, all right, why did you draw your support and resistance that way? There's no explanation behind it. It's just simply, oh, because that connects that. You know, it's just a very simplistic explanation of, but why would that become support and resistance? Why would that level hold? You know, a simple question like that, traders who've been in the industry for 3-4 years can't answer that question. And that's when I started to realize, okay, well, all right, well, Urban Forex needs to be a lot different. It can't be your traditional education because the why is missing. People just don't understand what they're doing. There's a bunch of patterns and stuff, right? Armo, what about you? What has been your background on this?
I think one of my main mistakes also comes from that, where when you first start out, you want to master it as fast as you can. So you look for shortcuts, which ends up being indicators or lines that you connect because you can connect them. But if you would just put in a little bit more work and a little bit more consistency and figure out the why that you see on the chart, and instead of, you know, looking for small patterns or trend lines or stuff like that, then it's actually not that hard, and it doesn't actually take that long to, you know, understand how the markets work. So I think that's my main mistake, trying to rush things through or trying to take shortcuts, but you can only take shortcuts if you put in the hard work first, I suppose.
Okay, so that I like that, because the word shortcut seems to be on everyone's agenda. That is a commonality that I always notice amongst every student that comes by, every successful student that's ever been with Urban Forex. That seems to be a common trait that everyone starts with.
Yeah. Top 10 life hacks, right?
Life
that's
hack,
what everyone looks for.
Like Forex seems to be the answer. It's like a crystal ball, but unfortunately it's not a crystal ball. It's quicksand. And if you don't know how to handle quicksand, it will eat you. You know, it's literally like that would be the only explanation I can give. Like,
yeah, I don't know how many bat patterns I looked for in the beginning, and looking every time that I like finally said, hey, maybe this isn't the way to go. So,
Man,
so you guys are telling me that banks don't do A, B, C, D, E, F, G alphabet patterns? They don't do that?
I'm doing it wrong then. I'm not finding the right animal in the chart, I guess.
I've seen dinosaur charts.
Yeah.
I remember one time really early on in my trading career, I figured out that around Frankfurt Open, there was one day there was a little bit of a range, and then there was a pop out of the range. It came back like a railroad track. And I took that range sell. And then I thought, okay, this could be something. I could be onto something here, because I didn't have many winners in those days. Sorry. And then the next day, same thing happened again. Again, I managed to take the profit. And then I thought, oh, now I have it figured out. The only thing I have to do is show up around Frankfurt Open, wait for that little range, wait for the pop out, for the railroad track, take the sell, and then, my day is done. And it never worked again.
No, but okay. But okay. How many of you guys have gone through this experience where you've been staring at the charts so long, for a whole month, day after day, and then the brain starts to come to its own conclusions of, I've been noticing, and it starts with section A, that when this happens, it usually does this. And then that's how a strategy develops. It starts with the words start with, I've been noticing, and then da-da-da-da-da, therefore da-da-da-da-da, right? It has this little pattern of, the brain is trying to pull out a pattern that as long as we keep doing this, then all we're gonna do is we're just gonna show up at the market one day and saying, all right, give me all your money. It's but so this notion of it can be done so quickly, so easily, is it true or false?
Someone should have told me the answer on day one.
Okay, but how about this? If we all know the answer to that is false, that it can't be done so quickly, so fast, but is there a lot of money to be made in this industry? Is that true or false?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's true, right? Okay, anyone who's done anything with trading will tell you that that's true. There's nothing else they'd rather do. Now, let's flip that around. Now, if you were a newbie and I told you the answer of the shortcut is actually false, but the amount of money that there is to be made is a lot, and that is true, would you still be interested in doing it? Or would it scare you and saying, well, since there is no shortcut, I rather switch industries and, I don't know, try to become an auto mechanic or something like that, where I can fix BMWs by just plugging in a laptop and then I don't have to do anything. It's just auto correct.
What do you mean? That's what my dad does.
I apologize to any car mechanic in here because we know that's not the case and it's actually more work.
Yeah, for sure. I just meant change industries. Okay, I didn't really mean that auto mechanics are bad jobs. They're great jobs, man. But yeah, so when that question comes up of if I stand up in front and saying, all right, as traders, I can tell you that there's going to be some work involved. It's going to be difficult, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. How many would you say would stick around and do the work, even knowing that by doing the work, half or more will fall down in the process because the work is just tedious? It's not hard. It's actually easy. It's just long, right? Would you guys agree with that? Is it actually hard work? Yeah. Like, is it difficult? Like, does it require a lot of excellent minds or something?
No. You don't have to be, an astronaut or a brain surgeon, like would have those capacities to be able to trade. Not at all. Because right. I mean, we're sitting here.
Hey, what are you saying?
I say I'm stupid.
All right. Well, we talk after Armo, after this podcast. You and I have to talk. All right.
So but yeah, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not hard. It's and the work that you have to do, it's not complicated either. But you have to do it very consistently.
Yes.
And learn from it and make sure you progress and have a growth mindset instead of thinking, after 3 losing trades, I can't do this. There must be something wrong with me. Because then you have like a fixed mindset.
Correct.
It's more about patience and persistence, honestly, when it really comes down to it. I mean, you got to get the right education, obviously, which we have here. But then for yourself, it's just keeping that consistency and that just don't give up. Really, that mindset, like you were saying.
Yeah, but doesn't that also make the industry that much harder? Doesn't it seem like, okay, well, if that is the case, then maybe I shouldn't do this because I don't have time, or I have 2 kids, or, I work 2 jobs. I don't have time to do all this. Is that true or false that those people can't do it?
I don't know. I think it comes down to your why in each individual person. I mean, anybody can do anything if they have the reason or I don't want to say reason, but motivation. Like you have to, like, it can't be just like something like, hey, I'm going to wake up today and like, I'm just going to trade. It has to be like, I really want this lifestyle because of this, something that's like super important to me, whatever that is for each individual person. So that's what it comes down to, I think. And that'll keep you driving forward.
Absolutely. The funny part is everyone goes after the lifestyle of trading. But lifestyle is not a goal that it can be pursued. Lifestyle is a side effect of excellence. I think that many people have this misconception of if I become a trader, I will get that lifestyle. So as if the goal is the lifestyle. That's very hard to do, because then it's like, I'm working towards buying the Rolls Royce. I'm working towards getting the helicopter with my initials engraved on it in gold, whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't know what lifestyle people have in their mind, but like I want swimming pools with diamonds encrusted all throughout the floor. Like, there is this level of idea of, as long as the money is unlimited, then just imagine what I can do. Just imagine. There's always this just imagine notion, and everyone keeps going after the just imagine part, rather than realizing the just imagine part that most people have in today's world comes from excellency from something else. They don't specialize in lifestyle. If you specialize in lifestyle, then you're going to have to create a product which is going to be like a camera service or following someone around on their birthday, or, you know, that's lifestyle, but you're working, you know, you're not enjoying that life. You get what I mean? Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
a
and
lot
I
of,
guess
yeah.
I guess for those people who always use the word just imagine, you know, years down the line, it's just gonna be an imagination. That's all it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's what, so it's very hard to put a lot of energy and focus into something we don't even understand. So whenever I, you know, here's the exercise I like to do with a lot of the students. Okay, and I'm gonna repeat it here and this, you know, publicly in this podcast. You're welcome. So this trick that I use to help a lot of the students is I ask very direct questions of, all right, let's say I get you the key to trade well. And now you're starting to make money, which is 40 times more than you would normally make. What are you going to do? I get a lot of vague answers. Okay, a lot of vague answers of what they're going to do. Well, I would like to get a nice house. I'd like to get a nice car. I'm like, well, who told you to do that? Do you want to do that? No one knows. It's just like, I think that's what I'm supposed to do. So there's a lot of vague answers of why I should live like that lifestyle, because they are doing it, so therefore I must do it. This seems to be the common trait. So how much money do you want? Oh, more the better. Yeah, that's a great answer to give. But because there is no end point, it's very hard to make a goal that has no end result. If you have an open ending, you can't make a goal, because a goal is a finite ending. It's like the goal of life is death. Okay, you're going to die one day. Okay, that's fixed, you know. But to see something unlimited like that, it's not fixed. Because it's not fixed, you cannot re-engineer it backwards and work towards it. It's not going to happen. That's the problem with the goals of a lifestyle. But a lifestyle is a result of good work. Now, trading opens that door. Okay, you can choose many things. You can choose to be a restaurateur. You can choose to buy franchises. You can choose to do real estate. You can choose to sell insurance. You can choose to work for a bank. You can choose to do all kinds of stuff. But the only thing that Forex or trading allows you to do is the upper limit opens up. Okay, the whole notion of it's liquid, the market is liquid, that idea keeps coming in to play. It's a very dangerous idea, but that idea is there. Which means if I buy something and I am stuck with it, I can get rid of it instantly. I can close it. If you buy a business or a restaurant or a franchise and it's not working, good luck getting rid of it. You can't get rid of it at a click of a button. So it's a double-edged sword. You have the power to get rid of it, but people don't learn from each single trade, right? Would you guys agree with that? What is your takes on that?
No, I think it takes a large sample size, you know, just speaking in terms of trading, like one trade doesn't define a trader or define what you're doing. It's like you need like time and like doing not the same method over and over to really judge how you're doing and how you're progressing. So it's not just a one trade thing, speaking on trading specifically.
Okay. Here's where it gets more fascinating. If all of you guys, okay, you know, knock on wood that this never happens, but if all of you guys were patients, right? You go into a hospital and then the hospital, the attendee says, oh, we have a nice surgeon that will operate on you. This surgeon is the best in the entire Eastern Hemisphere where you're staying right now. And he's performed over 1,000 surgeries. Now, does that make you feel good or bad?
Great.
It makes you feel great, right? Because you know there's experience in doing things well.
Yeah.
Now, with traders, the funny part is you'll see traders who have done thousands of trades and have learned nothing.
Yeah.
How weird is that? So it is a double-edged sword.
Yeah. All those thousands of trades were a different approach, different preparation, different execution, different everything.
Correct.
Or even on the flip side, it could be the same type of approach, the same type of trades. They're still in their head, they're still going, not supposed to give up. I'm supposed to be patient and consistent, still making the same mistake 1,000 trades afterwards. And,
Absolutely. Now, if a doctor does a surgery wrong and the patient unfortunately loses his life, will a doctor make sure he does his post-analysis to check out what went wrong? What did I do wrong in this? There's a medical legal team after him also saying, I need to know exactly what you did. There is a whole preparation of recap after one thing to reach 1,000 of those. And each of those has plenty of hours of recap. That's what makes him successful. Traders,
not just after a losing or a failing surgery, also
correct.
After
also a winning one, because they have to further teach it to the next residents, right? The next new junior surgeons that are coming through, right? So as traders, the problem is because it's so easy to buy and sell, open a trade, close a trade, they never take the time to actually learn from that one single trade. Weird, isn't it? Would you say that's a common trait that people have a huge flaw in when it comes to trading? Everyone's constantly looking for, if I do this, hopefully I make a lot. Cool, I did make a lot this time. The next one, hopefully I make a lot. There's this constant hopefully. Every trade comes with hopefully.
Yeah, and it's like even with more experienced traders, like traders that generally do well have like winning months in a row.
Yeah.
What I see is that whenever they don't have a winning week or a winning month, it's when they lose that, when they have a losing trade, and then instead of recapping properly, they get into the next one. Even if it's without revenge feelings or anything, it's just, okay, now I'm married to this analysis, or any of those things, they overtrade, and then it only gets worse and worse and worse. And then all that hard work and all those gains from before, they all evaporate.
Yeah. So what else would you guys say are common traits of failing traders? So does the number of years of experience matter?
No,
not really.
it helps.
It helps because it allows time for the person to be self-conscious about what am I doing,
and how am I doing it? Yeah.
But for a newbie looking at that person saying, whoa, he's been in the industry for like 40 years, doesn't necessarily mean anything, because it's not like a surgeon where you can't get to the next surgery if you keep screwing up. In trading, you can get to the next trade and screw up and do no problem because no one's watching. No one is holding you accountable.
Account balance.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So
it's how you use your time.
Sorry?
It's how you use your time. It's how you use your time that's important.
Absolutely.
Like, in essence.
Absolutely.
You could have 1 year of just post-analysis every single trade and really doing the right stuff for that year, and you could be farther ahead than someone who's been doing it for 30 years.
Much farther.
You know what I mean? So it's not really time. It's always the quality of time.
Yeah, I really like how you said that. Yeah, it's how you use your time. So going back to shortcuts, is a shortcut possible? So we said initially there's no shortcuts, right? Because that notion is if I just learn something and I do it, I'll make a lot of money. Because isn't that what I'm paying for at some course or some signal service or some whatever? I'm just have to learn it, apply it, and ta-da! You just hear the jackpot noise, ding, 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 ding. But that's not the case. It's learn, apply, fall, get up, reapply, relearn, recalibrate, or recalibrate, and then try again, fall, get up, move further, and then little by little, you've learned from your mistakes. How else are you going to learn?
Yeah.
Okay, you just need to be pointed in the right direction by someone who's been there, done that.
Yes.
But you need
that is maybe a shortcut.
Yeah. So if you use, like how Ian was actually pointing out not too long ago about is how you use your time, then yeah, like you said, Armo, that is the shortcut. So if you want a shortcut in trading, you need to go hardcore on that one trade. I don't mean hardcore as in increase your lot sizes. It's like, let me rephrase that for those of you who are just tuning in right now and thinking, oh, he just says go hardcore on one trade. What I mean by is pull out all the information that you can from that one trade. Yeah. Don't just let it go saying, okay, it's done. I know what I did wrong. Okay, got it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Learn everything you can from that one trade, because it's never going to come back. Yeah. That day is over. That day is lost. So pick up on it, learn from it. That's your shortcut. And that is free. It's free. Why is it free? It's actually not free. You've paid for it from your loss or your win. You've paid for it on that trade. Learn from it. Get the proper result from it. It's not the P&L that matters. It's what you learn from that trade, right?
Even if it's on a demo account.
Even if it's on a demo account.
Learn from it.
Yeah. Correct. On a demo account, I do notice psychological differences in people. Yes. They don't tend to take it as seriously as much, simply because it's a demo. I like putting pressure on the students, whether they're trading their own money, small amount, medium amount, large amount, or even trading my money. The sense of this is it, that tends to put them in the notion of, all right, I can't mess up. And that's been working. But there are some students who are actually very strong in the mind, and they treat demo accounts like as if it was a live account. And I've seen that as well, but it's not a common trait. It's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, of course. But at least to practice the read and to practice the rhythm of the market and just, become more experienced, I'd say first do it on a demo account, like by definition, before you start playing around with a live one. Absolutely.
So if you can do that, that's definitely the way to go. I would definitely say that's like the best thing you can do. Yeah. So if we recap the whole thing and we talk about why some traders fail. Okay, so what are the common traits of why traders fail? Is it the number of trades?
No.
Because they're trading too less?
No.
Is it the opposite? They're trading too much?
Well, actually for both is sometimes.
Yeah, but so that doesn't seem to be the answer, right? That's not a common mistake for why they're failing. That's not the reason.
Yeah.
Is it psychology?
No.
Is it lack of preparation?
Maybe.
Okay. Preparation is important, right?
Yeah.
Some do it, some don't do it. So is it taking away from each trade?
That is a problem.
That is a problem, right? And as Ian mentioned, those hashtag hoppers, right? All the people hopping from one system, one trading system, one whatever to the next, you never learn. You never get a chance to self-reflect, because everything you're doing is always so different.
You need a constant to compare. That's the only way to a constant realize your mistake and then actually fix your mistake. Don't just keep doing the same mistake, but
Yeah. So let me put it this way. You guys remember I put you guys in the hospital, and then, I didn't put you guys in the hospital, but you guys are in the hospital, and the attendee is basically saying, hey, you have a surgeon. He's the best on the East Coast. He's performed 1,000 surgeries. You felt confident, right?
Yeah.
Let me switch it up a little bit. So the surgeon that did 1,000 surgeries suddenly is now unavailable. He's stuck on the Alps somewhere. It's snowing and he can't get a flight here. But we do have a vet in the building. He's performed on multiple dogs. So he does know medicine. So we'd like for him to perform on you. How would you feel?
It completely depends on what the issue is and how life-threatening it is.
That's a hashtag hopper right there. That's a hopper. It's like, this is not my area of expertise, but I do know medicine. You see, just because you're in trading, if you keep changing systems, changing techniques, or changing everything, you're going to have the same issue. It's like being treated by a vet.
It's probably worse. It's probably not even a vet. It's like the car mechanic will have to do the surgery.
It's like, well, I can fix valves on an engine. Your heart should be similar. Let me get my wrench.
Where's he? How's he going to plug me into his computer though if he's the one fixing it?
Like, you, sir, need an oil change. Like,
Man, I broke my finger. What's happening?
so there's all kinds of methodologies, all kinds of approaches. And the common traits why many people fail is this logic of it's a shortcut, but not understanding how they can actually make use of the shortcut. There is one. Okay, there is one. So the one part that we all agree on, and that every trader will ever agree on, the money is good. And I think that's going to be here for a while until the robots take over the markets. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, at least one generation. So we should be okay. But, you know, knock on wood, I don't know, maybe 10 years and then suddenly AIs are, there's like a brown robot speaking on these on these podcasts or something. I don't know. But until then, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Staying on top of all that. So the shortcut is there. And the answer to the shortcut is learn from as much as you can from that one trade. Hang around with people who know more than you.
Yeah.
Stop wasting time trying to help others who don't know what you almost know. Okay, all that's going to do is it's going to make you feel good, but you're not going to get anywhere. And then you're going to live in this circle of I'm learning a little bit, but then he needs help. And I can feel what he's going through. So let me help him. So you spend 80% of your time helping him to get him to your level. And then two people are failing now. It's like, it's just a vicious circle. Okay. Yeah. Learn the best you can from each trade and hang around with people who know more than you. At least 80% of the time. 20% of the time, you do your due diligence of give back, help people, those in need, help them to get to your level. You do that 20% of the time. This is for a growth mindset. Does not mean a humanitarian mindset. Humanitarian mindset is the opposite. 80% give back, 20% growth. Okay. So as traders, I think you have to think slightly the other way. And
yeah,
that's
because
okay.
if you can't, if you're not able to help yourself, there's no way you're able to help, someone else, right?
Yeah, it's a very common saying, even in relationships. If you're not happy, you're not going to make your partner happy. Yeah. So it's a very common saying, and there is no right and wrong answers when it comes to life in general, but I personally believe that a satisfactory life comes from progress. Without progress, there is no satisfaction. There is no such thing as happiness. Happiness only comes from the ability to say, I am now grown. Spiritually, mentally, intellectually, emotionally, whatever. The fact that you're experiencing something new makes you happy.
Yeah.
So that's my take on life in general. And trading is not much different, right? Trading is not much different. So for all the newbies who are listening into this podcast, I want you to know the dreams that brings you to this industry, this market, or similar markets. The dreams are not wrong. You should dream. There's nothing wrong to dream. You should dream. Dreams what gives you hope, is what gives you fire to make sure you can do better in life. Without those dreams, you're just a robot. So dream as much as you want. Put it also into action and make sure you can fulfill those dreams by doing what you do and doing it well. Be the best you can be in whatever you pursue. Okay. If you work at a company, be the best employee in that company. If you're writing a report, write the holiest, awesomest report ever on the planet. Do the best at everything that you do, and that will lean forward into your trading. And you will treat each trade with that same level of perfection of saying, I want to make sure this trade is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Right. And then as more and more people pick up on this, hopefully our podcast can turn into why many traders are winning.
I think taking action, like you said, is a big thing, just in life in general, not just with trading. Taking actions,
yes,
and having those big goals in mind, but at the same time, for myself, having smaller goals along the way that you can achieve along the way, it keeps that motivation going. Because if you can take that step, then the next step, then the next, then before you know it, you are at that bigger goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's important to do that. At least for myself, it was. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that's hard is to stay consistent. That's the only thing that's hard. Because as human beings, we're in the world we live in now is instant gratification, right? We want everything done right now. That's the problem. Like, and it's not really a problem. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a double-edged sword at the same time. So it's good to have instant gratifications when watching Netflix. It's like no commercials, no nothing. Fast forward, pause, play, rewind. But when it comes to doing good work, then it's like, yeah, you got to stay consistent, put in the hours, and trust me when I say this, it is so satisfying when you look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come. Look how far I've come. Look how far I've come. And the better you do what you do and you look back, you'll feel even happier. Even happier. So there is shortcuts for all of you newbies out there. So there is shortcuts, but the road is bumpy. You just can't stop. That's the only thing. If you decide to go down this road, the road is bumpy. In fact, if it's not this road, any road you choose is going to be bumpy. You just got to stay at it. Only if you want that lifestyle. Any industry you choose will end you up at that lifestyle. Would you guys agree? Any avenue you choose, whether it's trading, real estate, medicine, engineering, whatever route you take, you will end up at that lifestyle only if you do what you do well.
True.
And you commit to it.
And you commit to it. The road is not the answer. Is do you reach the end of the road and you know how to travel that road well? That's it. That's it. That's the, as simple as it sounds, it's also difficult, but that's the quick answer.
Yeah, just one trade at a time, one trade post analysis after that, one more trade post analysis after that. Do that over and over and over again.
Right. So
We're going to reach the destination for sure.
So let's do this. I'm going to do a small exercise with you guys. Okay. For all of you guys listening in. Okay. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes and just hear my voice talking to you about this. And I'm going to walk you through this. If you're driving, please don't do this. That's the last thing I want. Like you're driving, you suddenly close your eyes. Like, sorry. Let's bring you back. So take a moment, just close your eyes and go into that lifestyle. Okay. I'm going to walk you into that lifestyle. You're up on a cliff. Okay. Beautiful house up on a cliff. Okay. Everything is white. Windows are open. White curtains are flying. The wind's blowing, a nice little breeze. And you walk out into the balcony and you see the ocean, very beautiful, very blue. The sun is shining, a few clouds in the sky. You smell the ocean breeze and you're like, And you just feel this is a result of everything I've done so well in my life. You walk back into the room, you look at yourself in the mirror, and you got a bit of gray on your hair. How do you feel? Was it a life well lived? Was it well deserved? Or you rushed into things and this is not what you want? This will really answer, is lifestyle really what you're after, or is excellency what you're after? Is it that house you want with the breeze just so you can post it on Instagram? Or do you want to do what you do the best? Okay. If you answer that question, there's no way around it. You're gonna get that lifestyle, period. You're gonna get that lifestyle because there's no way around it. It just follows people who do good work. All right. So we're gonna end the podcast with that. I hope you guys can really take that in and really take your time to always meditate and put yourself in the position of what does lifestyle mean for you? Make it as clear as possible. Don't just imagine, as much money as possible. Like, no, make it as clear as possible. Don't be vague. And then say, is trading the route I want to take to achieve that? Do I like trading enough to do it 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? Or is this something I'm just going to try and quit? Yes, you may now open your eyes. I see people commenting saying, can we open our eyes? Sorry about that. I forgot you got eyes were closed. Sorry about that.
Also, how did you type that with your eyes closed?
So, yeah. So just, really put stress and focus on it. And wherever your energy is going towards, it will come out that way. It's lifestyle is basically the universe rewarding you for what you do. That's all it is. You can't go after lifestyle. So just remember that. Even though we're all attracted to this industry due to lifestyle, we only learn it, a couple of months down the line that it's not as easy as we thought. And that's okay. But we did know about it now. But now that we know about it, what will we do? That's the question you need to answer, right? All right, so let's take this into a webinar now. Okay, why most traders fail? We'll bring it more onto a charting style. And we're trying to talk about all of the stuff that we just talked about in this podcast, more of on a chart. What does that look like? What does it mean? And then we'll take it from there. So if you guys are tuning in from the podcast, you will have the link to the webinar in the description. If not, it's always available on YouTube, or you can drop us an email at any time at info@urbanforex.com. And we'll be more than happy to get you the webinar for this particular podcast. All right. So thank you guys here on the panel, Armo, Lucas, and Ian. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your personal experiences with the failing, the getting up and recalibrating and everything like that. I'm sure it's very useful for everyone listening in. I really appreciate your feedbacks as always. Until next time.
See you guys next time.
Cheers, guys. I'll take it from here.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.